Hi guys, so this is kind of like a computer literacy video. I noticed that a lot of you that join the courses and stuff for programming ask simple questions like how do we copy and paste, or how do we put images into a folder and stuff. So I'm just making this video to go over everything, and I asked ChatGPT here to give me a list of stuff that I can show you in this video. Also on the bottom left here you can see all the different mouse buttons that I'm pressing, and also when I type you can see the keys down here. So let's start going through this list. So first it says using a text editor like VS Code. So if you don't already have VS Code installed, you just want to open up a new tab in your browser and you want to go to code.visualstudio.com and then just hit this download here, and this will begin downloading on your computer. I'm just going to cancel that, but for you just wait for it to end and then click on it and it will install on your computer. So once you have that installed, to open it we just want to click on Visual Studio here, VS Code, or if it doesn't show here you want to type VS Code here, and it should show here once it loads. It might also be on your desktop. I did remove the shortcut from my desktop here. But yeah, once you open up VS Code, you'll be greeted with this screen. You might be seeing a setup screen if it's your first time you just installed it. You can close anything that's opened. You don't need to set up anything. So to open up a file, we just click this Explorer button up here. And we can either open up a folder or one individual file. So firstly I'm going to create a folder that we can open up here. I'm going to so on my computer I have two hard drives here. I'm going into the second one and I'm just going to create a folder here where I can let's just call it basics. So if you didn't see that, I just right clicked, I selected new and then folder here, and that's how I created this folder. So to open up this folder in Visual Studio Code, we want to hit this open folder button here, and then we want to navigate to the folder we just created. So for me it's under my PC, it's on my second hard drive, it's in this AI folder, and it's this basic folder here. Now I can either just select it and press select folder, or I can open it, it's the same thing. And now it's asking if I trust the authors of this folder. So what it's asking me is basically I could have downloaded this folder from somewhere and it could have something that I wouldn't want running on my PC on it, but I created this myself, so I'm just going to say I trust it, and I'm going to tick this box down here that says I trust everything in the parent folder as well. So parent folder, it means the folder that's one level above this. So the AI folder is the parent folder of the basics folder. I'm going to select that and click yes, I trust the authors. And now I'm just going to close this welcome screen here as well. So now we have the basics folder opened here. And if I want to, for example, close it and open up a different folder, I just hit this file button here. I click on close folder here, and now it's gone. And then I can just do the same thing again. I open up the Explorer, I click on open folder, and then I select the folder that I want to open. So I'm just going to open up that same folder again. Okay, and now let's head back to ChatGPT and see what's next on the list. So let's look at how we can create files with the right extensions. So to create a file, we want to hover here, and up here at the top there's a new file button. So if we click on that, we can just name the new file here. So I'm not going to do it that way. A different way you can do it is by right clicking also and selecting new file here, and it's the same thing. So to create the files, a file has two parts to it. One is the name and one is the extension. So to give it a name, for example, I'll call this index. We put it on the left side of the file name. And then we want to use a dot, and then we give the file extension. So each type of file has its own extension. For HTML, the extension is HTML. So simple. And basically that's how you create a file. On the left side of the name is the name of the file, and after the dot comes the extension. So this is how we would create an HTML file. Now let's create a CSS file. So I'm going to call this style.css or styles.css. And you can see here that the icons are different, and that's because this is .css and this is .html. So those extensions are important. If you miss out the extension, it will be the wrong file type. And I'm just going to create a wrong file type here to show you how that works. So I'm going to call this my HTML, and I'm not going to write the file type there. So if I go to the HTML page that we created, index.html, and I type exclamation mark, it will autocomplete this entire HTML document here. But if I were to do the same thing in the my HTML file, the one where we didn't put an extension here, it's not going to give me anything to autocomplete because it doesn't recognize this as an HTML file. So you need to make sure that you have the correct extension set up. And then let's try and create a JavaScript file now. We want to do, let's just call this app.js. We're not going to be writing any code right now in this video. This is just like a computer literacy basics. So that is how you would create the correct file with the correct file extension. And next, let's head back to ChatGPT. So let's look at how we can save files. So let's say I've written something inside this file, which I have, and you can see that it has the small circle up here. That means the file is not saved right now. So if I press Ctrl and S on my keyboard, that will save the file. There's also an option for save as. So if I select save as here, what this will actually do is save this as a different file name. So I'm just going to call this index2 so you can see what this means. When I hit save there, now there's two files, index and index2. There's not really any reason for you to do this right now or ever, but yeah, that's basically how you'd make a copy of the file you're working on. I showed you how to open projects already, so we're done with this text editor section. Next, let's do working with files and folders. So we've already created a folder. So next, let's go over paths. So understanding file paths here. So a file path is basically how you get to a file that you want to use. So let's say, for example, I had a picture here, and I'm going to create a folder first. I'm going to call this images. And inside of there, I'm going to put an image. It doesn't really matter what I use. So I'm just going to copy whatever this is and put it there. So you saw that to copy the image, I just right-clicked on it and selected copy. And I'm going to right-click in this folder and click on paste. And now we have an image here. And I'm going to rename this because it has a really long name. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to press F2. And I'm just going to name this pic. So let's head back into VS Code. And let's say I wanted to link this image to the HTML file. So I'm just going to create an image tag here. This isn't an HTML tutorial, so I'm not going to show you how to do this. But to use the path to the file, what we want to do is, for example, here it's images and then the picture. So I want to type here images, and then I want to put a slash and then the name of the picture or the name of the file. So .jpg. And you want to make sure you type out the full name, which is the name of the file and the extension. And you want to type it exactly as it is here. So if it had a capital letter here, you'd have to put the capital here. And yeah, that's basically how it works. Now let's say this picture wasn't in the images folder, it was just lying loose inside of the main folder here. this would no longer be valid because there's no pic.jpg inside the images folder here. We would have to remove that so that it knows that the picture is now just loose inside here. If, for example, there was another folder inside of the images folder, so let's just call this other, and now let's copy the image into the other folder. So now let's just look at what we have here now. We have the images folder with the other folder inside of it with the picture inside of that. So to get that path, we'd have to type images, and then we put our slash, and then we need to type other, and then we put our slash again, and then we type the name of the image here. And really don't forget to add in the full name of the image and the folders. Make sure if there's caps in the names here, you have to put it here as well. Make sure you have the file extension as well. And yeah, that's how you would do it. So let's head back to ChatGPT and see what's next. Okay, so next let's look at using the browser. So how do we open HTML files? So let's open the one that we just created here. To do this, there's a few things we can do. One is we can just have the browser opened. We'll open up a new tab here and we'll drag in that HTML file. And this will open up the file in the browser. So another thing we could do is in our Visual Studio Code or in our folder, we can right click on the HTML file. We can select open with, and then we select our browser here. So this will also work. And finally, this is the best option in my opinion. You head to extensions here and you want to search for live server. And this live server extension here, you just want to install that. And once it's installed, you just want to go back to your HTML file here and you want to click on go live down here on the bottom right. So if I click on this, it will open up in my browser and we can see it. The reason why live server is a bit better is because it will update what we're seeing live. So I'm just going to reorganize the windows here. I'm going to click on the top here and drag this browser. And I'm going to hold it up here a bit so that this organization thingy pops up. And I'm going to place it on the right hand side using this organization thing. And then I'm going to select VS Code on this side. So with live server, what we can do is if we, for example, delete this image, as soon as we hit save, Control and S, it will automatically update here. So if we were using it directly from the file, like without the live server, every time we saved something here, we'd have to go back and refresh the page to see the change. But with the live server, it automatically updates with all the changes. So I'm just going to close this now. And if I head back to Visual Studio Code, down here on the bottom right, I want to click on the same thing we clicked on to start the server, and that will close it. So next, let's look at refreshing the page to see changes. So I showed you that live server was better for that. Right click and inspect. I can't really show you that right now. Let me open up that file again. So if I were to right click here and click on inspect, I can actually see the HTML code of this website from the browser here. Right now it's not that useful because there's only one text thingy in here. But yeah, it's good for debugging if your code is not working right and you want to make sure that everything is being loaded in. But that's not really something we'll cover in this basics tutorial. So next, copying and pasting code. So there's actually three keyboard shortcuts you want to know here. Control C, Control V, and also Control X to cut. So let me just, for example, move this text here. I want to click with my mouse and drag to select all of it. And I want to press Ctrl and C. And then I want to place my mouse somewhere else and press Ctrl and V. And this will paste in whatever I just copied. So Ctrl plus C is to copy and Ctrl plus V is to paste. But let's say I wanted to actually move this, so I don't want it to be here anymore. I want it to only be up here now. I can press Ctrl and X and this will cut it. And then I press Ctrl and V and it will paste it here. And that's all good. Now let's say I made a mistake. I didn't actually want to move it here. I can press Ctrl and Z and this will undo whatever I did last. So the last action I did was paste. Now I've unpasted it. If I press Ctrl and Z again, it will undo one more action and bring it back to here. So if I type something out here and press Ctrl Z, it will just undo whatever I've typed out. And now let's say we want to redo the last thing that we undid. So we want to press Ctrl and Y. Ctrl and Z will undo it, Ctrl and Y will redo it. Okay, so let's head back to ChatGPT and see what's next. How to select code properly. So I showed you how to do that. You just hold down the left mouse button and select all the text that you want. Using clipboard without overwriting, I guess that's just Ctrl C and Ctrl V. Basic terminal usage. So let me show you how to open up the normal terminal first before we touch the one in VS Code. So down here on the Windows button, we want to right click and we want to select terminal here. So in this terminal, you'll notice there's a location here. And I'm just going to close this for now. Actually, let's leave it open. I'm going to open up the same folder that we were working with. And I'm going to right click in here and select open in terminal. So you can see that the location here and the one here is different. So this folder, this terminal that we opened from the folder, it starts out in the location of the folder that we opened it from. And this main terminal here that we just opened from the Windows Start button, this opens up in your user directory. So for right now, I'm just showing you the basics. We don't really need to care about that. But I'm going to close the main terminal and this one as well. And I'm going to just reopen the one that we have from the folder here. Okay, so this is the terminal. I'm just going to show you how to navigate and stuff quickly. If I type ls here, it will show me a list of everything that's in this folder. So you can see we have images here, which is this folder here. We have the 3 files that we created. And now let's say I want to go into that images folder. I can type cd, which means change directory. And then I start typing images and I can press tab here to autocomplete. And now I just press enter to head in there. And now you can see that on here, the location has changed to the images folder. So if I press ls again now, it's going to show me what's inside the images folder, which is this other folder here. And I'm just going to go in there to show you what it looks like. And now let's say we want to delete this other folder, or let's delete the file inside of it, this pic file. So firstly, we want to head into the other folder, so cd again, and now we want to go to other. And now we're inside the other folder here. And I'm going to type ls again to see what's inside here, which is pic. And to delete it, I just type del and then pic. And now it's gone. So if I want to head back now, so I'm in the other directory here, I want to head back to images. I can just type cd and then 2 dots. This is dot like a full stop, and then slash. And if I press enter here, now I've moved back into the images folder. And I can do that again to head back into the basics folder. So that's how we would navigate using the terminal. So now I'm going to show you how to open up a terminal inside of VS Code. So we're working on a project here. We don't really want to head out and open a different terminal and all. We can actually click this terminal button up here and select new terminal. And once this loads, you can see that it's already in the folder. So we can just use the terminal from here. And when you want to close this, I don't recommend you to use this X button here. I know that when you click X on a window, it normally closes it, but this X down here is actually for hiding it. So it's still open, it's just hidden. If you want to close it, you want to hit this bin icon here, and that will kill it. So next, let's head back to ChatGPT and see what's there. So we've gone over copying and pasting terminal, running basic commands. We've done ls, all of this. dir is basically the same as ls. I'll just show you how that works now. So if I type ls, we've already seen what that does. It lists everything in here. If I type dir, it basically just does the exact same thing here. And then running git commands. So I'm not going to do git right now. I'll do a whole separate video covering git. And let's look at common fixes. What to do when your file won't open. There's not really anything you can do, just wait for it to open, I guess. Checking if your file is saved. So on VS Code, if you make changes here, it will show you the circle icon up here. And watch the circle up here. If I press Ctrl and S, that circle will disappear. So that means the file is saved. If there is a circle up there, it means the file is not saved right now. All of your changes are not saved. So whenever you see that circle up there, make sure you press Ctrl and S. And actually, don't just wait for the circle to appear. I normally just hit Ctrl and S every time I type something out. So next, checking if your file is saved. We're done with that. Dealing with typos and file extensions. So if I were to type something wrong here, actually this won't work in an HTML file, so let me go to JavaScript maybe. And okay, let's go to CSS actually. And I'm going to put an HTML tag here for some reason. You can see that there's this small red line under here, and if I hover above it, it will actually give me an error. Now, most of the time, errors are not always like really human readable, but as long as you see an underscore here with the red line, it means something is wrong. So you can always just Google what that error means and give it that specific code, and yeah, Google will probably tell you what's wrong there. So yeah, we've reached the end of this list. If you guys have any more questions or stuff that you need to know, just leave a comment or hit me up on one of the groups or the Discord or even on my TikTok. And yeah guys, I'll see you in the next video.